Hey, everybody. Welcome to Grabbing the Brisket podcast. How's your day going?
Dude, I'm exhausted. Honestly, that song ended, and I was like, oh, what are we going to do now? I forgot we were getting ready to record. I was like, good thing you started talking.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like just play the music and just end.
I was like,
that was cool.
What song's coming on next?
Yeah. Key it up.
I was watching earlier. So Apple TV has this like dinosaur show that's done by, I guess it's John Favreau, however you say his last name.
Yep.
Super awesome. But it got me thinking like a little bit because a lot of these dinosaurs have feathers. That's how they portrayed some of these dinosaurs, like raptors and.
Well, you know that's actually a thing that they're actually talking about.
Right.
That dinosaurs had feathers.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but one thing, it's like it kind of caught my attention, and I saw somebody post on Twitter about this because I think maybe their kid asked them, was like, how do they know that they had feathers?
That's a good question.
And more importantly, like in this movie that they showed us, they showed the dinosaurs being different colors. How do they know what color the dinosaurs were?
Huh.
Make sure it's just their imagination.
Yeah, they're just making shit up.
You know.
What color was the T-Rex?
Was it gray?
I did not see the T-Rex one.
It was pink.
But they did show a super hilarious. They did show one that looked like a T-Rex. It had like tiny arms like T-Rex. But it was probably like more like, I don't know, like 10 foot tall. And in the rainforest, he would find a clearing and he would pick up all the sticks and the weeds and he would just make this like whole area just like beautiful. And then he would get down and he'd start like just growling a little bit, like this very low noise. And it was his mating call. And I was like, how do they know he growled? But I guess they can tell by they say the deep noises penetrate the forest a lot further. Whatever. So it attracts a mate. And so the female comes and she's like probably like I don't know, like maybe 2 times bigger than him, or maybe not that tall, but she's definitely bigger than him. And he does this little dance. He does this little dancey dance.
He peacocks.
There is no way they knew all this.
Right, yeah. He's doing this little dance, and he's shaking and turning and doing whatever. And then he gets up to this like big finale, and I watch it, and all of a sudden he gets up, and he's got his little tiny hands. And he like flails them out like he's doing jazz hands, and he's like doing this number. But the inside of his hands are like this like aquamarine, like blue color. And he's just doing his little jazz hands. And then finally the girl comes up to him and she like basically like puts her neck around his neck, and maybe it's like a little hug or something. Or maybe she's smelling him. I don't know. And then she just walks away.
What?
Yeah, done.
It's because he didn't clean up well enough. He cleaned up and whatnot, like we do. If we're, you got to pick up around the house if you want anything to happen, right? You got to have the room clean. He didn't do a good enough job.
Did not. He went back to cleaning, and she left, and I guess maybe she found somebody else that peacocked a little bit better.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just flair, just showing. Hey,
flair. How much flair do you have?
Yeah, yeah. I wonder could they just make him talk though? Give him like a little funny voice or something. Right. Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, that and the horror Winnie the Pooh movie.
I heard about this.
That is, I saw clips of it. That is some strange stuff.
I haven't seen it. I heard about it. You heard about like why they're allowed to do it now or whatever?
Because the thing ran out.
Yeah,
right?
the copyright.
Yeah, the copyright, whatever. I guess Disney was trying to fight it, but as soon as it ran out, somebody ran with it. And
see, I think I thought I've heard about this, but I think it was through one of y'all. And I think we were drinking or something.
Yeah,
and
Keegan brought it up.
So I think that's why it's like kind of blocked it out or something. But now I'm like remembering. I'm like, oh shit, that was right.
Yeah. I just heard about this today on another podcast.
Christopher Robbins goes off to college and forgets about Pooh and Piglet.
No, I don't say anymore, James.
And they get pretty upset.
Yeah.
Oh man, you could have said spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well. Whatever.
It's ruined now.
It's ruined now. Don't watch a trailer if you don't want to know.
But hey, this is a barbecue podcast, so I don't know why we're talking about this other stuff here. John has been cooking his ass all day. He cooked like, 7-8 briskets today?
Yeah, we did a bunch of briskets.
Yeah, you and Denny, huh?
Yeah, we did them on her new Austin Smokeworks bit.
Yep.
That thing runs like a freaking champ.
Well, it's like we've been waiting patiently for you to fire this thing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about time.
This thing is nice.
I know.
Super nice.
Well, walk us through it. I mean, like, how did it maintain temperature? How much wood did it go through?
It did go through some wood, but I was using that stuff from HEB that's like super kiln dried kiln. Dridden.
They suck all the moisture out of it.
Dridden, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, it burns fast anyway. So it did go through a little bit of wood, but no, it stayed probably between like 235 and 260, 265 the whole time. Like, super easy, lit right away. Started with a little bit of B&B charcoal, and that was it. Never added any more charcoal, just kept adding pieces of wood.
What'd you season with?
I went with Sucklebusters lineup. That's what I always do for the donut shop folks. They're all for the donut shop. They make them kolaches and whatnot out of them. So usually it's like a SPG, and it's pretty similar to what we do anyway. It's SPG and a brisket rub, and then I use the chicks to smoke instead of like a Tony's or whatever.
Well, how is the so usually you're cooking on a bunch of Traegers, right? This time you went offset on it. Did you try one of their briskets? Did you try a piece? No. So you don't even know it's
I don't ever get to try them. My kids were so mad. All three of my kids were mad at me today. Usually I'll hear something from one of them like, oh, you didn't make one for us? But I didn't fire up anything else. Oh, I guess I did later on fire up the char griller. But I didn't have any more room on that thing. It was full with 8 briskets, so, and they ordered 8. So
yeah.
But yeah, all three of my kids at some point today, you didn't make one? Maddox was mad. He's like, I really like brisket. I really wanted one, Dad.
You know I want this all the time. Yeah. Poor guy.
I was so proud.
Yeah.
Speaking of being... Oh,
yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about your son's love for brisket? Our past weekend, we did the cooking class, barbecue demo. We threw down a brisket, and Maddox was he was ranting and raving about that brisket just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. He said, James made this brisket? Yeah. James makes really good brisket. I was like, second best you've ever had? Yeah, Dad.
Yeah. Oh, that was Saturday. Talking about Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah. I actually did some tri-tip, right, the same day, and Maddox had some of that, and he goes, I like James's brisket better. And I go, well, you're not eating brisket, you're eating tri-tip.
Well, brisket is better, so it makes sense.
Oh, well, never mind.
He was like, your brisket's tough as shit, James.
Yeah, it's not as tender as the brisket. So
it's funny. The next day, I went back and judged their competition. If you guys are listening to the last episode, we went out and we talked about what we did. We went and did a little class, and then they were getting geared up for a big competition. So if you haven't listened to that last episode, we had some of the competitors on. But anyways, I went back the next day and was one of the judges, and Maddox stood there right next to me the whole time because I would take like one bite, and then he'd be like, "You gonna finish it?"
Yeah, let me try a piece of that, Dad.
Let me try that rib.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome. Speaking of being proud, though, and I think I might have already told James about this. So I don't know if I told this story on the show, but about 4 years ago when Maddox graduated from preschool, they did a little video montage with every kid saying what they want to be, and it's always the same: fireman, pilot, policeman, whatever, teacher. And Maddox says, I want to be a person that works at Walmart. So I think I might have said this before. Well, Sissy had her little graduation thing this past week. And the principal sent us the video, and she said, I want to be a brisket cooker.
Nice. Yeah.
I was so proud.
How cool is that?
It was freaking awesome.
Yeah. I bet she was like, what is going on? Like,
yeah.
Well, teacher was like, brisket?
Can we talk with maybe Oklahoma Joe's to maybe if they can build like a junior pitmaster, a little junior offset?
We got the little tabletop here, but we need an offset, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll get her sponsored.
We got one.
Yeah, I'll just take that one that's in James's driveway home.
There it is.
She might need like a step stool to get up there, but we'll work it out.
Something to grow into.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. So I didn't get to. I wasn't there for the judging for this past weekend. Can we touch on that for a second or no?
Yeah. Let's do it.
How did that format go? I mean, did you kind of help steer that a little bit, or?
They pretty much had it set up how they wanted to do it ahead of time. There was, I tried to give a little bit of input here and there, especially as far as like how they did their scoring at the end. But they had it pretty much set up. There was only 3 judges. It was me and a couple other people, and basically they brought the boxes. We didn't know whose was whose. We'd taste one. We'd write down a little score. They'd bring another box. We'd taste it. Put it, just like it would be at a regular competition, I guess. Mm-hmm. We did chicken, ribs, and brisket.
Nice. So I know that was it Justin and then Chris?
Justin, Chris.
No, so them two did all three categories, right?
Yes.
Then Roy just did the brisket only.
Right.
He was like, "Look, I don't have time to cook everything." Blah blah blah.
Right.
Which
He
I
just
get
did
that.
brisket, and then there was the other guy, John, the other dude with the beard. He did just ribs.
So John, I didn't know John was cooking.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a last minute thing.
He threw his entry in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you want to touch on the food itself.
As far as was it good?
Yeah. You have to.
It was. Some of it was better than others. I'll be honest.
It's going to be good.
I've been at competitions before where I've had to spit shit out, and I didn't have to spit anything out. That's what I told them. I was like, I didn't have to spit anything out. So you guys did okay. Some of it was like, well, that's pretty good. Some of it was like,
just
it's not
needing
great.
more, or just
more seasoning, more love.
Yeah. Some of it was like undercooked. As far as the brisket was a little tough.
Yeah.
Some of it was overcooked, as the chicken was a little tough. But for the most part, everything was good. Like if I went to somebody's house and they served it, I wouldn't have been like, "Oh, what is this?" I would have been like, "Hey, this is good. This is great. Thanks." But yeah, some of them were better than others.
Did you take any pictures?
I think I do have some pictures. I'll have to post them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering how obviously, Chris had a better understanding of how he wanted to execute this, and he's been barbecuing a lot longer and whatever, right? Mm-hmm. I was pretty happy to hear that Roy he was picked, his brisket was picked to be the best brisket.
Yeah, Roy won brisket.
Okay, so I was actually happy to hear that because I did spend a little time with him, with the trimming and everything else, and kind of going over through some of the processes, things that I would do, things that he was like, "Nah, that's the way I'm going to do." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds good," whatever. So I think it was
didn't want to argue with him about
definitely a collaboration. No, he's it's just not really good form, right? To argue with people.
Definitely reach out there, go follow Roy. Was it Roy Robertson Harris?
Yeah.
So NFL player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Go out there to his Instagram and his social media and go follow him. He's really getting big into barbecue. I know he's teamed up with Traeger. Yep. And I know Jan's super excited that the only thing that he taught him, he got first place in.
Well, I'm not saying
he was hinting at it
because of my fault or anything like that. I'm just saying I didn't hurt him, which I was happy to hear that as well, right?
Yeah. No, he was stoked. He was legit stoked, he just won a football game stoked.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, yeah, pumping his fist. I was like,
well, there's a lot of shit talking.
There was.
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah.
And I like that. So,
and a lot of cook-offs, first place brisket does carry a little bit more weight than
the ribs or the chicken.
Right. And if he had cooked in the other categories, then maybe, who knows. But Justin won in both the other categories, so it was.
How did it look? How did the meats look themselves? Were they trimmed right? Did they look like they could cut right, sliced right?
No. Well, some of it looked okay. The ribs looked pretty good. They didn't really know how to box like we would box. You know what I mean? We told them to put a half a chicken in there. One of them just put the half chicken in like we would do pretty much. The other one kind of cut up the half a chicken and put it in. None of it looked bad. I think the brisket was what they had the hardest time with, slicing it up correctly. Maybe their knives weren't that sharp. I think a couple of them actually said that their knives were a little dull, so it kind of looked like,
just chopping it up.
Yeah, it was harder to slice. They still had slices, but some of it looked better than others.
Okay,
nice. Well, I hope they have us back next year. I hope this keeps growing for them. And it
sounds
like their block, their neighborhood that they live in, it's gaining a little bit more popularity and traction.
Well, they were like, let's do it in the fall. I was like, just let me know. We'll see.
Definitely, because it was a scorcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preferably when it's about 25, 30 degrees cooler than it was.
Yeah. Let's do it in January.
Yeah. It was so freaking hot.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah. Those pig shots were money, though, huh?
Mm-hmm. Pig shots were really good. Yeah.
Really enjoyed them. I hadn't made those before. I mean, I'd seen them a million times. I'd never gotten around to making them. They were great.
Yeah, somebody ate one, and they were like, they were trying to describe it to somebody else, right? And I can't remember who it was. It may have been Justin or some guy, but he said, look, he goes, there's a lot of layers to this. He goes, a lot of flavors. It's happening all at one time. It's all in your mouth, right? So because the guy took a bite. He was just like, oh wow, and he's like, oh wow. He's just registering all the flavors coming through, right? The jalapeno, the little bit of seasonings, the cream cheese, just everything kind of comes. The bacon, the sausage,
the sauce,
the glaze. Yeah. So I think those were definitely money for sure.
Agree. Should we slide into this grab into brisket?
Grab into the brisket.
Beer review. Would you bring us, James?
We saw. Decided to switch it up just a little bit. I know we've been heavily involved with these sours and these
Martin Houses.
So I was like, I gotta get something else. So this is this is Panther Island Brewery, and where are they located at?
Fort Worth, Dallas.
Texas.
Yeah,
love it.
Right next door to Martin House.
Yep. 7% alcohol by volume. This is, of course, a 16-ounce can. This is a Hazy NEIPA.
NEPA.
New England IPA.
New England IPA, that's okay.
Right. What makes it a New England IPA?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, James. There's a few things that make it a New England. One is that the alcohol, the volume on here is going to be anywhere between 5 and 7%. It's also going to have a lot of fruit. And then, of course, it's going to have that hoppiness that you get or whatever else. But the fruit is, I think that's really pairs or makes this a NEPA. I never heard that before.
An IPA?
Yeah. I'm calling it NEPA.
You call it whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah. But...
Did we already say the name of the beer, or did we just say where it was from?
We did. It's the Hazy Cat.
Hazy Cat.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. Okay,
cool. Cool. The can's cool. It's got a nice little wrap on there. It's got kind of a psychedelic looking cat.
That's what I was going to say. Psychedelic.
Yeah, it's like, but the cat looks like a cat. Like, what do you call the ocelot, or like a like what are those Egyptian cats that have no hair?
It looks like a cougar.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's almost like the what you're saying, the ocelots, where it almost looks like a damn
ocelot.
You know what? They're native to Texas, brother. You gotta look them up, man.
Okay. Have you ever seen their cousin, the ocelotl?
No, I've never seen that. Have not seen that.
Yeah, got yellow eyes. It's probably one of those cats that jumps on top of you and like sucks your soul out. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Soul sucking.
Yeah.
Suckers.
Stephen King, Cats Meow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
all right.
That's a lot of people had a big thing about having cats around their babies for a long time after that, right? Because they thought the cats would suffocate and steal the air from the baby. So they like keep your cat away. But I think there's probably something to happen, to be honest with you. I think cats want to cuddle up and get warm. Right, so
hey, here's a little oven right here.
A little hot oven. Yeah, let me jump on top of this thing and smother them probably or something. Right. But they think, the cat's trying to steal the breath.
Right.
It's not the truth, man. They're not like that.
Anyways, what do you think of the beer?
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, then I'll jump in there. Okay, you jump in there, James. Go ahead.
I like the beer. I think it's probably one of my favorite kind of IPAs. I'm not a huge fan of them. Some of them are a little too too hoppy, too citrusy. This one I think is pretty mellow and is pretty chill, even with the higher alcohol by volume. I'm liking it. I'm digging it. I'm 7.5.
Really? You say it like you're like, I'm 7.5.
That's pretty good for an IPA.
It is really good. I'm not a 7.5 on this, I'll tell you that.
I like it. I'll go next, if you don't mind. Do you mind talking?
No, do whatever you want, man.
I'm with James. It's super smooth for an IPA. I'm the same. I don't really like IPAs most of the time. This is not too hoppy. It does have citrus for me, but it's not like a orange. It's not like an orange peel.
Like
you know what I mean?
Tropical fruit.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not that traditional grapefruit.
Yeah, it tastes like an orange peel to me. I don't know. It's good though. It's super smooth. I'm gonna go like a 7.1. I think it's good.
Okay, yeah, 6.8 for me, guys. This beer it's really good. I could have one or two of these, no problem. I think after probably two, though, I'm probably not going to want to drink this. I'll probably drink something different. If I could imagine myself drinking more than two of these, it would have been higher than a 6.8. But yeah, I mean, it's a really good beer.
It's definitely like I've already gotten probably like halfway down, and it's It definitely raises the body temperature up just a little bit. You know, you start
7%.
feeling a little flushed.
Yeah,
like,
ABV.
Oh man, all right.
You know, I'm not. Can I just say something real quick to you guys?
Yeah,
and I think the energy right now for this podcast is a little low.
We're about to get pumped up because we're about to have a guest come on.
You know what I'm saying, though? Do you feel that? Do you feel like we're just kind of going through the motions here?
We're just being too mellow.
Yeah. Like we all smoked a joint or something and decided to get on the podcast.
We did not do that.
Well, I know we didn't do that, but that's what I'm getting at. It's like I feel like everybody's way too nonchalant and mellow. Like we're just trying to like
somebody's in a car right now driving, just like falling asleep.
Yeah,
like,
we're putting the motherfuckers to sleep on the road, dude. That's what I'm saying.
He just woke up now. Where he's driving to work, doing rush hour, and falling asleep.
Exactly. Coffee's not working.
Listen to smooth styles of grab 'em in the brisket.
Yeah. Good night. Sleep tight.
Okay.
Watch the road.
It's like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like just
He
blink
goes
off
up.
once, done.
That's it.
Freddy's
You're in a
got
dream,
you.
Brady. You're in our dream now. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps up the grab and the brisket.
Beer review. Also, okay, everybody's seen Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Mm-hmm. And we all know what it's like when you go to sleep and you wake up, and then once you realize that you have the power also to be what you want to be and how you want to be and whatever, right? Because it's your dream. You have the power to fly and to have super strength and be impervious to bullets and knives and whatever, right? What would be your Nightmare on Elm Street power? Like one of them was a guy that could what was it? He had a bunch of guns, remember? He was a kid, had always all these guns, like
Right.
right?
Man, yeah. Barbecue related or just
barbecue related though. Yeah.
Maybe your hands turn into like electric knives, and there's like, zzz, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just like chopping through Freddy's face, just like slicing like a Sunday ham, just like.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. I'm not sure I totally understand the question. I never watched any of those movies, so
you don't know.
No.
Yeah,
What you
okay.
talking about?
Basically, you fall asleep and you're able to pick your own superpower.
Well, but that's not the thing. So
I picked the power to wake up and not be killed by Freddy.
see, Freddy would always torment you in your dreams or whatever else, and you never really realized that you're also dreaming, so you have the power to be something else in your
control
dream,
your own
right?
thing. Yeah.
Once they realized that, then they could fight back, right?
Yeah.
So
And they had to suck Freddy back in the real world, then they can kill him.
yeah, right. You know, they're gonna pull him to the. It's just the thing, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you wake up holding Freddy, then you bring him back into the real world.
right.
Okay. I'm starting to feel like this isn't real.
This may not be real. Maybe dreaming right now. In fact, we're all dreaming. Just close your eyes when you're driving down the street now.
Yeah.
Go.
I watched one of those Nightmare on Elm Street not too long ago, and the eating of the no doses. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, the stay awake
The
pills.
stay awake pills.
Mm-hmm.
But it got me to thinking, like, there was a Homer Simpson. There was a Simpsons episode where I guess he was a truck driver at one point in time, and he's trying to stay awake. So he's falling asleep, and he pulls over in a gas station, and he pulls out. He's like, "Let me get some, pretty much no dose." Gets it, takes the whole bottle. And he's like, "Whoa, no, don't eat that." And those were like sleeping pills. And he's like, "Oh, I need that." And so he gets like a whole bottle of no dose and like sucks those down. And so he goes on the road and he's driving. All of a sudden he's like, fall asleep. And then he's like, wired. Fall asleep, wired.
Right, he's just doing this. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. I used to work a lot, man, and we traveled a lot. And I was with a guy that we were driving down the street down the road one night, and we basically had like, I don't know, probably like another 6-7 hour drive in front of us. And it's probably midnight, right? So, and why you don't get a hotel back? I don't know why you don't get a hotel back then, but we just didn't, right? We're like, nah, we'll power through it. We'll drive. So we pulled in this gas station, and he goes in, he gets a coffee, and he got some energy pills and whatever, right? So I'm riding, and I'm like, I'm really not too worried about it because I'll just sleep for a couple of hours. And I'll get up and I'll drive if you need me to or whatever, right? So I really didn't think too much about it. And so he reaches over and takes his package of pills, and he eats them, and he's washed it down with some hot coffee, and then the bag drops down to the floorboard by my feet, and I just happened to glance down, so I picked it up, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, how many of these pills did you eat? And he goes, I ate them all. I was like, well, how many were in there? And he was like, I don't know, like a handful, like 6 or 8. I was like, 6 or 8. How many? He goes, I don't know. I think there was like 8 of them in there. I was like, well, it says do not have more than 2 in a 24-hour period. And he's like drinking coffee. And he's like, oh my God, I think I took them all. This is not being good. This is a
he's going to overdose.
Yeah. So I ended up falling asleep. And I woke up. We're in like...
Are these caffeine pills?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know what they are. But they're like stay awake pills, whatever. I don't know what's in them. But I ended up waking up. We're in Houston, coming back home, right? Rush hour. I look over. This dude's eyes are like saucers, right? He's like 8 inches from the windshield. And he's just like hugging the steering wheel, right? And he's just staring. And he looks over and he's like, I'll get us home. Don't worry, right? And I'm like... Dude, you're freaking me out a little bit. Like I hate to wake up like this. Yeah. But we got home. I went to bed, right? And then this dude drives home. And I only had a couple hours sleep, like maybe 2 hours sleep the whole time, right? And in 24 hours. So he never slept. All the way until we had to go to work that evening. We had to go to work that evening, right? And he still hadn't slept at that point. He said he tossed and turned on the couch. He said he got up, he couldn't sleep. I'm like, yeah. So now he's rolling on 30-something hours straight.
At one point in time, does the delirium set in?
Oh, I'm sure.
Hallucinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I could taste the road right now. Just like, ugh. Oh, man. That.
Okay.
Oh, hey, can I say R.I.P. Marion Barber?
What?
Yeah, R.I.P. Marion Barber.
What happened?
I don't know yet. I just saw not too long ago. Yeah, they found him dead in his home.
Marion Barber.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
Running back.
Yep. Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. Well, damn, that sucks.
Yeah, he was young too.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just had Ray Liotta.
Yep. And then there's somebody else. I don't know.
It's always in threes.
Yeah. I'm sure there's somebody else, man.
Hmm.
Also, hey, I don't know if it's a little current here, but Johnny Depp, Amber Heard thing went on today that they went ahead and convened and gave the verdict. I think Johnny kind of won this deal, right? I mean, I think he was awarded like $15 million out of the $50 that he asked for. I think she was awarded like $300,000 or something for something else that one of the lawyers did or something. I don't know.
Right.
But
is that to pay the lawyers?
But hopefully, well, the lawyers can get their cut from the $15 million, and then Amber's going to pay theirs or whatever. But I ultimately think that hopefully, I mean, I don't know if this dude's a douchebag or not. Like, who knows? They're all crazy. They're all rich. Whatever. But if he didn't do all those things and he's been found innocent, then I hope he gets kind of his career back.
For sure.
That kind of stinks that, if he didn't do any of that stuff and you lose your career because somebody came up and said a bunch of shit about you, that sucks, So,
yeah. John, can you reach out to John and see if he wants to be on the podcast?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, JD?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
We'll be the stepping stone.
We'll get him back on track.
Right, for sure.
That's what we needed. We need to get him back on track.
Okay, really quick, John. I know we got Lee Ann Whippen coming up here shortly, so we'll run through a little business. No, I'm just kidding, John.
We have no time for business.
Okay, what time is it now?
Yeah,
we're right up there pushing it. Okay.
Yeah, let's take a quick break to pay the bills, and when we come back, we will bring her on.
We got Lee Ann Whippen coming in here, celebrity judge, pitmaster. I'll be honest, Lee Ann, I saw the John sent me the email of the resume, and it's quite impressive. It is quite impressive.
It's very long-winded.
I was like, we joked about it. I was like, we can just go through this whole thing. Let's just get all this stuff right. But man, I was looking over some of the stuff. I mean, so obviously you have cooked, you have competed, you have judged, you've been on TV. I've seen you've competed against Bobby Flay, and I think you kicked his butt.
I did on the throwdown, yes. Yeah. And then I was on his team for the barbecue brawl, which was nice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So welcome into the Grab Another Brisket podcast. We definitely appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk a little barbecue with us. I know you're on your you have your own podcast as well, and you've been on quite other different shows?
Sure.
Yeah, it's barbecue.
Not all about one. It's about everybody, right? We got to share all the stories and experiences.
Heck yeah.
So I'm going to jump in here real quick, Lee Ann, and I first of all, to classify is a celebrity judge, which is, if I can put that on any resume, like that just sounds so freaking awesome to me. But that doesn't really define, like you are a true, I guess, chef, right? So yeah, that cooking and presenting and all that's like your passion, and it's been your passion for like a very, very long time. And I know that the very, looking through your lengthy resume, which by the way, going in the future, I'm going to start adding to my resume. I should be adding to it every single time I do something.
You've already got like 3 things.
I don't.
So.
That's a lie, John. I got more than 3 things.
But you're going to add Lee Ann to your resume.
I am going to add Lee Ann to the resume. Damn right. Rightfully so. But no, if you wouldn't mind, I mean, and maybe you get to ask a question all the time or whatever else, but I'm really more, I guess, intrigued about just you getting started. Like, it's amazing, like, almost like a domino effect. You got started with a restaurant and the catering and that type of business first, but that kind of led you to another avenue, into another avenue. You know what I mean? So if you wouldn't mind.
Snowballed, yeah. So actually, my background is in hotels. So for 15 years, I was in food and beverage. So I have a background before I even got into barbecue. I mean, barbecue was always, in the backyard with my dad. I don't know if you know my dad, Jim Trim Tab, and he got involved with KCBS, a long time ago with Carolyn Wells, and he brought me along into the world, 25 years ago, and we got our judge certification. And then it was that first year, there was a competition in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And I said, Dad, let's compete in it. And he had an Oklahoma Joe. And he said, well, I don't know about that. And he goes, well, yeah, why not? So he was in North Carolina at the time, and there happened to be a whole hog ancillary category. And I said, well, why don't we do the whole hog too? And he goes, absolutely not. This is our first contest. We're not going to do that. And, he hangs up, and the phone rings 5 minutes later, and he goes, well, what size hog do you want?
I love it. Nice.
So our first contest, we not only did, the KCBS categories, but we did whole hog too. And we ended up winning grand champion and went to the Royal and won first place in pork. So that initial, just that feeling and being in that world, I still can remember it. And I knew at that point that this was where I was going to be. So I quit my hotel job. I bought a 24-foot trailer with a Jedmaster on the back of it and hit the road and started vending. And then that's when I get into the restaurants. And so I've had 6 over the years. I just got out of the last one down here in Tampa. Just because of COVID and everything, it's just not real profitable, and it's a lot of hard work, which I don't mind, but it really didn't allow me to do a lot of, things that I wanted to do. And so now being a radio, show co-host on Barbecue Nation and a brand ambassador for Pit Boss Grills are some of the things that I'm able to do since I've stepped out of the restaurant world.
Nice.
That's awesome. And how much are you liking recording and doing the show with Jeff?
I really enjoy it because we actually not only have guests that reach out to us that want to be on the show, but we always have, somebody in mind. And everyone is always, yes, sure, we'll come on the show. And, some of these people I haven't met before, so it's really cool to be able to talk to them and hear their history and, what they're doing. And I've really enjoyed it. It's a once-a-week show, and it doesn't take up too much time, and it's really been enjoyable for me. And Jeff Tracy, the host, is absolutely awesome to work with.
He is a very nice guy. I was going to say, when we saw you at the barbecue,
the
MBBQA, we had Jeff on, but we didn't get to have you on, and so I was really delighted to see that you had agreed to say, yeah, I'll definitely come on y'all's show. I was like, man, this is so great. Like, we're having both of them, which it'd be kind of cool if we could have Jeff on the same time as well. But yeah, this was something that I was like, oh man, first of all, I was a little starstruck when I saw you, and I was like, I'm being serious. I was like,
Well, thank you.
You see people online, you see them on TV and whatever else, and you don't know how to really approach somebody sometimes. And I think just really being at the MBBQA, it was just everybody was very approachable. I think it was just us kind of learning. Like, hey, if you want to say hi,
I agree. It was a fantastic convention, to say the least. And I love where, they're going. And Kel is going to lead the charge, and it's very exciting.
It is. It really, really, really is. And I it's something that I really haven't really had a passion about, I don't think. Last couple of years, I think my drive has really kicked in a lot as far as like where I see barbecue for us and kind of what we're looking for and whatever. And I think being at the MBBQA really kind of helped. We talked. James didn't get to go, so he's just taking a back seat to this conversation. But being there kind of actually helped recharge that a little bit as well. So it was really a cool event.
Yeah, the networking is. It's absolutely fantastic. And it's nice to be able to, know some names in barbecue and then actually meet the people. And it's just a great experience.
I cannot agree more. And if you don't mind, I would like to say something. I was always under the impression, I've been competing for 20 years in our area and IBCA and in barbecue. And for a long time, I always thought, you put your best product out there and then it's luck when the judges pick you, right? But here's the deal. And you said something earlier. You said, I decided you and your dad entered this competition. Y'all won the first one, grand champion, the first one, and then you went straight over to the other one, the Royale or whatever, and
right, the Royal,
and then won that as well, right? And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, I know luck. There's always luck somewhere in there, but it's not as much as people think there is, right? So it really comes down to having a good product, having a good system down, being very, very consistent in the way that you cook certain proteins and meats and whatever, and then really you're giving yourself the best opportunity out there, and that's why you see the same people winning.
Exactly. That's the proof right there.
It is
that. It isn't that those people are lucky all the time.
That's right. That's right. They've got a really good product, and it took me a long time to really just. Sometimes I'm a little pig-headed, and I don't want to concede, on what I think is a good product, and I don't want to try anything different. And I think that's where I've kind of lost a little bit in the barbecue game, and I've seen our barbecue go forward light years in the last probably 5 years or so with bringing John on and having James step up. Our barbecue has gotten a lot better, and we found ourselves competing. And when I say competing, I don't mean just because we entered a competition. I mean competing for a top spot in the cook-off, right? So so I don't know. Anytime I get around somebody that especially of your stature that has won as much as y'all have won and has been a part of barbecue, I don't know. I'm just in awe a little bit.
It's interesting though, because I took a step back and I used to compete a lot, and then because of the restaurants I really didn't. I'd only do a few a year, and it's amazing how you kind of aren't on your game if you aren't out there often. We all aren't at the top all the time. And it's just interesting how it's changed, and just the different methods, the different proteins, the different rubs and sauces and all that, and how that's changed. And for example, this weekend I'm going to WWT, which is Worldwide Technology NASCAR race, and I'm going to be competing in ribs against Tim of Blues Hog, who just won Memphis in May. Yep. And it's like the best cookers are going to be out there. And I'm just like, I haven't done that many comps in the past few years, so I'm a little bit nervous about this.
Hey, they should be nervous.
So, yeah, I do like to compete, though. And, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this. So we're on the competition talk of it. There's a lot of people that listen, a lot of our listeners that maybe do competition. Maybe they're like entry-level competition. They're just getting started. Any suggestions or any tips or pointers that the people are just now starting? Because I know it can be like, once you get into it, it's very just like overwhelming and big. And you can compete in 100 cook-offs and never win a thing.
Right. Well, obviously what I did was, I had my judging, certification. So I know what the judges are looking for, how they're scoring and why they're scoring this way. So I think that's critically important, is to take a judging class. Secondly, when you get into these contests, sometimes they offer backyard, contests where you can just do, ribs or whatever. So it's nice that you don't have to dive into all 4 categories. You can kind of focus on one, master it, you might say, move on to another one, and gradually work your way up into the 4 categories instead of diving in and taking a nosedive right on, because that can be very, very disheartening and discouraging. So it's a little bit easier, I think, if you start, with the backyard. That's just my recommendation. I didn't do that because they really didn't have that many backyards. I just jumped in. Also, really learn your cooker. Obviously, spend the money on high quality meats. You aren't going to win, with a bad piece of meat for the most part. So you are going to have to make that investment. And when you're looking for a contest, try to get one that's close to home so you don't spend so much money on gas and lodging and all that. And it takes the edge off of traveling and being tired. You don't want to go into a cook being tired. And, and don't be engulfed in the ancillaries right away, too, because that can take your focus off of the main categories.
So let me ask you this. So the flavor profiles, the seasonings, the rubs, the sauces, versus the meat being cooked correctly versus the appearance, let us know how that weighs in your perspective when you judge. Because is it a make or break type deal? Are people out there just not getting the right seasonings, or they're not using the right injection?
Well, I judge. Yeah, I judge a lot, and I will say that the flavor profiles are extremely similar. You'll get one that's a little bit off, but for the most part, you're getting the sweet sauces, the underlying flavors from the rubs. The mistake people are making today is they're over-injecting, and it's overpowering the smoke, and you aren't tasting the smoke in the meat. And that's what I'm finding with, current judging. So, just be aware not to over-inject, I think. And, as I said, learn your cooker, just practice. That's my theory.
Makes sense to me. I'm going to be honest. When they announced the nominees for the Hall of Fame, was it a couple weeks ago? I was so excited when I saw your name. I was like, "Oh, we know her. That's our friend." And then when I was on the live when Barbecue Central was announcing who won, and I was jumping up and down in my living room. I was so excited.
Oh, that's so sweet. I want to tell you, I was jumping up and down. So yeah, I was quite. So this was the 3rd year I was nominated. I was like, oh, God, it's going to be Susan Lucci for me. I'm just going to keep, just hopefully hanging in there. But it's truly an honor just to be nominated. I really did not expect to get inducted, just because you look at the caliber of all the nominees and, you start second guessing yourself. And, I was tearing myself apart. I'm like, I don't know. And, so it was very exciting for me and very validating, for all the work that I've done to get rewarded. And it's just been a goal of mine, my whole life. It really is the pinnacle of my career, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. It's icing on the cake. So how did they just call you and tell you, like, hey, you're in, you won?
It's a funny story, actually. So when you get nominated, they usually call you a day or two in advance and tell you to keep it under wraps. And then, the past 2 years I was familiar with, I'm like, okay, the call didn't come 2 days before the announcement, so I know I'm not in. So the announcement came out on Wednesday at 3:00. So on Monday, I am by my phone looking for the KCBS call, nothing. So Tuesday goes by, nothing. I call my mom on Wednesday and I said, well, it's over. I said, I was really hanging on and hoping. And I said, it's going to be, and this was at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And I said, they're announcing it at 3. So there's absolutely no way. And it was funny. I was listening to the critique on the Barbecue Central show of, a few people talking about the nominees. And, there were some really nice things said about me, which made me feel good. So I told my mom, I said, I feel better now. At least they didn't say, oh, no, she doesn't deserve it. I just felt better. And then it wasn't 5 minutes later. That's when the call came in. So I didn't actually find out until 10 after 2, and the announcement was at 3:00.
Wow. That's
very cool.
And Emily called me and she said, we wait until the very last minute for the inductees. We just cannot afford to let it get out. And so I was just, that made it more exciting for me because I really thought, absolutely not, I was not getting in. So it was a big surprise.
So now what you're giving us right now is just basically that anybody that is going to be nominated for this, just know at 2:10 or 2:15 you could get a call at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Because now I'm not going to worry about it. Now I'm like, okay, it's only 2:30. It's fine.
We're going to be calling. You're not nominated, Jan.
I think
one of these days. Don't get nervous.
I think we need a little bit more, resume, a little more, substance behind us. But yeah, hey, that call's coming for you, bud.
Thank you, James. I see it.
I'll hold my breath.
Listen, you have to visualize it before. It's like, man, you have to visualize. If you can't see it, it's not going to happen. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so the American Royal will have the formal ceremony out there, and I'm looking forward to that. My family will come out there for that. I don't know if I'm going to compete or not. We'll see. Probably not, but you never know.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be out there this year. Kel Phelps invited us out to hang out with them and maybe record where they're set up at.
Definitely go. Have you ever been there before?
No, we never made it out there, so we're super excited about
it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Actually, I haven't been to the new venue, but I just know all the teams and just everything that goes on. It's a great, great weekend. You guys are going to have a blast.
Nice. We'll definitely be looking for you. Will you have like a sash or a crown or anything like that?
Yeah, like an entourage.
It'll be like definitely some guys in jackets.
Oh my God, that's hilarious! Absolutely not.
That's awesome.
So I'm sorry, James. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to derail it and just go off topic just for a minute. You know how I like to. I mean, I love barbecue, but Lee Ann, so we always ask the guests, we always give them a couple of options, a couple of questions. And one of the questions that I kind of came up with, and actually I stole this from somebody else, but I don't remember who it was. But it was like, what's that one question that nobody asks you? You know what I mean? Like that you do these interviews, you do these types of things all the time. But that was one of the questions. I was like, okay, what's that one thing that nobody really asks? Like, what are you? I'm just.
One thing that nobody has really asked me is, what did you really want to do when you grew up?
There it is.
And that was, my dad was a pilot with TWA, and I actually took flying lessons in high school and flew Cessna 152s and Piper Cubs on grass fields, and I wanted to be a pilot. That was what I wanted to be, and I couldn't get into the flight school that I wanted to. And then all of a sudden, summer job got into hotels, and I got engulfed in that and distracted. And it was costing me a lot for flying lessons, so it went by the wayside. But that was my initial goal.
Nice.
Wow.
Very cool.
So do you? I don't know. Do you still? This might be a dumb question. You still do any flying now, or not really? Is that all gone?
Don't. Mm-mm.
You know what?
Nope.
We need to get you behind the steering wheel. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's called. I don't think it's called a steering wheel. I think it's called something else.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it called a stick?
No.
Maybe. It might be.
They have the trim tab. That's what it is. It's kind of on planes, But I don't know. But yeah, so everything really changed. And ironically, my dad was born on my grandmother's hog farm in Lexington, Missouri. So I have pictures of me, teeny tiny, in the pens with the pigs, and I have those pictures. And it's kind of ironic that here I am doing this as it relates to pigs and whatever. And I also collected pigs my whole entire life. And I still have a lot of those. They're all over, my apartment, and my kids will, try to count them, and, they're kind of subtle actually. But I collected pigs too, which is kind of weird that it turned out that this would be my profession, barbecue.
I think it's fitting. I think it's cool. Yeah, no, definitely.
It was meant to be.
It was, yeah. It's amazing how, we talked about this just with, people that work and just whatever, but it's amazing how one turn in your life, right? Just
right.
one thing.
One.
That's right. You take a left instead of a right, and then the path is so much different, right? And then you look back and you can't imagine it being any different than the way that it is. I think it's super neat, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Just to quit my job. When I look back, I was like, wow, that was really gutsy to quit your job and buy a trailer. And I got my Silverado back then. And I still have that truck and trailer down here in Florida. I used it in a comp at the Florida State this past January. I still keep them going. I don't have one of those fancy RVs, but I still have them. They're very sentimental to me.
I love that. Yeah, I try not to get rid of any of my pits either, but my wife doesn't always agree with that.
Mm-hmm. So one more off topic. So Lee Ann, do you remember your first concert that you ever went to? And can you share that with us?
My first concert was, it was Heart, Eagles, and Little River Band in Giant Stadium, because I was raised in Jersey, because my dad was based out of Kennedy Airport. And I was so mesmerized by Heart. They were just absolutely fantastic. And it, of course, at the time they said it was like the Eagles' last concert. You know how many times you hear that.
Right.
But
they're still having their last concert.
It was amazing. And I remember wearing, I don't know if you remember the painter pants, like overalls things that back then, well, you guys are, too young for that. But I had on a white one, and I remember the girl I went with spilled a tropical drink all over me. And I remember getting home and rolling it in a ball and shoving it under my bed because I thought my mom was going to get mad at me.
You're going to smell the... are we talking about like alcohol? Or are you going to smell the alcohol?
Yeah.
That is awesome. All right. Yeah. So just got in the Hall of Fame. You're headed to go compete with Blues Hog. What else is new in the pipeline for you?
Well, actually, of course, the old I'm going to write a book thing. But actually, I do have a very interesting. It's not just going to be a cookbook. I can't reveal. So I'm in the process, and I'm not a very good writer, but you do have to put together the pitch to the publishers and what have you. So I've compiled, all recipes, but it's actually the subject matter that's quite different than most. So I hope a publisher will pick it up. That's always something. It's not like I'm looking at it to make money. It's more of kind of like a journal and history and that sort of thing. So that's kind of on the sidelines, which means it'll probably take a lot longer than I think. So that's one thing. And also I am expanding. I have the pig powder dry rub, which is my dad's dry rub, that my sister and I took over that company when he passed away a couple of years ago. And I've just solidified who I'm going to use as, my distributor and what have you. So I have 4 sauces and 3 rubs coming out. Again, I know I'm not going to make any money, but it's just something, that I've been wanting to do. I did it a long time ago and had, sauces in supermarkets and that sort of thing. But this is different. So I'm going to be working on that. I already am in the middle of that. Those are just a couple of things.
That sounds awesome. I can't wait to get my hands on some of those.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I know it. No, definitely. Well, you never know. I mean, it's one of those things that it catches on. I know it seems like everybody has a sauce and a rub and whatever else, but you've been in this game for so long. I mean, those flavor profiles are going to be ones that have stood the test of time. So
I'm not doing it to be like the famous competition barbecue sauce. There's two in particular that I'm coming out with that there is nothing like it on the market. So it's either going to be hit or miss, but to me, it's worth a shot. So we'll see.
Very cool. Yeah, we're excited to see it. So yeah, hopefully when you announce it, we'll definitely be first in line.
It'll be rolled out within the year.
Okay.
I know that.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
All right, well, we're getting kind of close to the end here, but we usually ask if you have a barbecue fail story that you could share. Our listeners love that.
Yes, I do. I actually worked with Smithfield when I lived in Virginia to get a contest going. It was a KCBS contest, and Carolyn Wells happened to be the rep there. And I was competing. So it was really important, since I helped, put this thing together, that I do well. And after I had all the turn-ins done, Carolyn Wells starts walking in my trailer, like with her head down. I go, what's the matter? She goes, your ribs. I was like, yeah, what about my ribs? She goes, did you cut them? I said, of course I cut them. She goes, into separate pieces. And I said, yes. And she said, no, you didn't. She goes, 2 of them were stuck together, so there were only 5 entries. So I got DQ'd. It was my one and only DQ, and believe me, I will never make that mistake again. But that was an epic fail.
Oh, man.
You didn't specify you needed like just one single bone.
Oh, you meant like cut?
All of them?
Well,
yes,
when you turn in 6 ribs instead of 8, you've got to have 6 individual ribs, and technically they could pick it up and kind of like shake it a little bit, but whatever. Right. But evidently they didn't do that, and so I got DQ'd. Yep, that was bad.
That is rough.
Never made that mistake again.
Never. I always cut them and then move them across the cutting board just to make sure that they are completely separated.
Yeah. It's one of those deals where, we've done competitions as well. And you have the rules. You know what you're supposed to do. Even when you do competitions that are like, okay, so we did the Austin rodeo not too long ago. And on brisket, they tell you 500 different times that the tag and the chunk of the meat that the tag's in needs to accompany the box with the slice. I mean, it has to be in the box with all your slices. We knew this. But once it come down, like, let's cut. Okay, we got 5 minutes. Let's go. And you forget it. And then next thing you know, you got one team running the box, and then you have me staring, just eating brisket. Like, oh, this is so good. This is really, everybody's coming up trying it. And then I look down, like, there's a tag with some chunk of brisket.
Yeah, you know what?
Crap.
You get so caught up in the moment. There are so many times, like sometimes I'll hit with a little bit of salt, when I'm turning in. And there are so many times that I have that little itty bitty amount of salt sitting right at the cutting board, right next to the box, so I won't forget it, and I will still forget it. Yeah. You just get caught up in the moment.
Yep.
That's what it is. No, it's better than some of our barbecue fails because, DQing is DQing, but like, we have burnt some food that the whole family didn't get to eat that night, right? I don't know.
Really? Yeah, no, I haven't had that happen. I've had grease fires, but managed to get out of that mess. And on my Jedmaster, it needs electricity to run the rotisserie. I've had power failures where, the racks are all the way in the back and, I can't manually move the grates. So that's been touch and go, but I've made it through. But no, I haven't had any burnt food.
No.
I would say that I've had some chicken that was not undercooked, but definitely not cooked, well enough, it's definitely not good for turn-ins, but no severe disasters.
Yeah. We had one, and I'll speak on mine more specifically. Our grill was set out in the driveway that was a good 20 feet away. I seasoned 2 briskets, and maybe this is something that some competition TV show can incorporate into their thing. I decided that I'm going to bare hand, just man hand, 2 briskets,
fully seasoned,
I had the pit door already open, ready to go. I'm just going to grab it by the point, and I'm just going to carry it all the way, probably like about 20, 30 feet. It's no big deal. I'm like, I got the grip strength to hold this. I got halfway, and I was like...
Is that why you call this grab him in the brisket?
Should be.
That time I did not grab him in the brisket.
Yeah, you dropped him.
I dropped him. Yeah, and at this point in time here in Houston, all the
oak trees,
acorns had dropped. Trucks run all over them, so it was just like the whole driveway was just covered in this like crushed acorn.
Great oaky flavor.
Yeah. It was a fail for sure. We had to come in and just like try to rinse off the brisket.
First of all, it's very difficult to clean broke up shell out of a brisket,
especially
it's
already soft,
minute, and the fat's already soft. I mean, really and truthfully, you're washing, but you're like, I got to like trim this brisket again. I don't know if I can get all this out. And we did not trim it again. We just washed it as best we could.
We reseasoned.
Had everybody sign a waiver.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? What else are you going to do?
I don't know.
But I learned not to try to manhandle and try to grip strength two briskets.
Well, especially when I said,
if you're starting to lose control of one, you can't use your other hand to help save it because it's full of another brisket.
Correct. Well, not to mention, I did, as he was starting to walk, I said, you want me to help you? And he goes, no, I got it. And then I turned my back and watched him drop it. And I go, oh, good job.
You got it.
You got it, don't you? All right. Yeah, it was not good.
That's great.
I have a similar story, not related to barbecue, but my dad, he flew internationally and he brought back all these beautiful German glasses. Each one was different from a different restaurant. And I was just so excited, and he's unwrapping them carefully and, brought them all the way from wherever he was. And I go to bring him to the sink, and I wash them, and I put them on a tray, and I'm walking back, and he goes, don't do that. He goes, and sure enough, if I didn't drop that whole gosh darn thing, and they all went flying on the floor. It's like my sister and I call it the light bulb moment. You shouldn't be doing what you're doing, like you guys did with the two briskets.
I got it.
But you do it anyway, figuring, it's not going to happen to me, and then boom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Famous last words. Will.
Right. Famous last words. Yeah. It'll happen to somebody else, not me. Yeah.
Hey, Lee Ann, we appreciate you being on the Grabbing of the Brisket show. We'll turn it over to you. Please let the people know where they can get a hold of you if they want to interact with you and ask questions.
Sure. On social media, Lee Ann Whippen on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. I just launched a website, but it's really basic right now. So that's Lee Ann Whippen BBQ. I have a YouTube channel that just has a few things on there. Yeah, so that's predominantly where you can see my stuff.
I love it.
That is awesome. And once again, super huge congratulations on your induction.
Thank you. I'm really thrilled about it. I've just been ear to ear smiles. It's taken. It feels like it was super surreal in the beginning, and now it's starting to sink in, and it's even greater each day. It just gets better. So I really appreciate you guys having me on the show, and I wish you a lot of success. And I look forward to seeing you at the Royal.
Absolutely.
No, definitely. And I will say this: each week y'all do the Barbecue Nations radio show. If somebody wants to tune into that, how do they tune into that?
So we usually put it out on Twitter, the links, but Barbecue Nation airs on, I believe it's 400 different stations on Saturday mornings. So you can go to Barbecue Nation and, and we usually put the links out there. I need to do it moreover, but we are going to have a YouTube channel that is going to have a library because we've been doing a lot of them with video. And it's kind of interesting, which the video kind of adds to it because you can see people's expressions and what have you. So we'll be working on that soon. We have a library that's full enough now that we're getting close to doing that.
Nice. That's very awesome. Cool. Very cool. Well, Lee Ann, thank you so much for coming on. We definitely, 100% definitely again appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. You have a great night, and I will see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good
Definitely.
night.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Such a cool evening to have her on, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hall of Fame. You know, it's not every day you get to say something like that, you know, and she's got a career that's been if you name it, she's probably done it. You know what I mean? And excelled at it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's like hotel management to owning your own restaurants to winning the American
Barbecue
Royale
Pitmaster, yeah.
to battling Bobby Flay.
Being all over TV.
I had so many more questions that I don't know if I needed.
I know.
I
That's
was like,
the thing.
how is Bobby
Yeah.
Flay? Is he
How
cool?
Bobby Flay is. I want to ask her, like, how did it feel kicking Bobby Flay's ass?
Right.
Boom. You know? Boom.
Right.
I don't know. Hey, listen.
He just dropped it like Emerald Lagasse.
Yeah.
Like, boom. Pow. What did he say?
Pow.
Pow.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what Emerald. Yeah, he said something like that. Well, look. Anyways, definitely feel a little honored to have her on. And like I said, we had Jeff on when we were at the NBBQA. Definitely wanted to get her on, and I think it was I was going to go say something, and I just froze. I was like, I can't talk to her. I don't know what to say, you know. And I should have just been like, Hey, what's going on? You want to come on? And she'd have been like, Yeah, I do. And we could have done it, but I'm glad we actually waited because we didn't know then that the Hall of Fame thing. So
Yeah, no.
there it is.
And big congratulations to you, Lee Ann.
Yeah, cool.
Super badass.
Man, this is the end, and this is the portion of the show that we like to do, like a barber, like a barber quartet type deal.
The Barber Quartet.
I'm just
What?
kidding, guys.
This is
Shit.
the end.
You know what? I'll say this, though. The energy level in the very beginning of this podcast sucked.
No,
So,
it was good.
It was very dry. Like,
we're
hey,
missing people.
We are missing people. You're right. What I'm going to say, though.
I was saving my energy for when Lee Ann came on. That's exactly what happened to me. I don't know what your issue was.
Well, no. All I'm saying is, once we did a beer review with this Hazy Cat, this Nipa,
Smelly cat.
right?
Right, from Panther
Things
City.
livened up. This 7% alcohol by volume may have just saved the show. Of course, having Lee Ann, she saved the show, to be honest with you,
Right,
having
right.
her on. But I think that this little bad boy didn't hurt. Just saying. But yes, I'm sorry. That's all I had to say.
It's funny.
That's all I got.
Okay, that's all I got, too. Hey, guys, we appreciate you listening. James would always say, stick tuned. And,
Yes.
later, bud.
It's great talking barbecue, you guys.
Peace.
Thanks, everybody. We've been great. Dang it, Bobby. Just grab the brisket. We'd like to give a special thanks to Sucklebusters Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, Bolner's Fiesta Spices, CoolieNation Custom Koozies, Cambro Manufacturing, YETI Coolers, the Smoke Sheep Barbecue Newsletter, and Dalstrong Knives. We definitely appreciate your support.